All right, so today we're diving into a really fascinating period, actually, in ancient
Oh,
Israel. And
absolutely, yeah.
specifically, when we talk about the prophets Elijah and Elisha,
Right.
and you share some stuff with me that I think is really illuminating. It's a time of real clash of beliefs.
Yeah. These excerpts you sent over from Lesson 44, God's Prophets, Elijah and Elisha.pdf, really kind of paint this vivid picture of the northern kingdom of Israel after it had split from the south, you know?
Yeah.
It was a time when like pagan religions, especially the worship of Baal,
Yeah.
had gained a real stronghold, you know?
So almost like a competing ideology coming in and taking root.
Totally.
Yeah, okay, so we've got this kingdom divided, and then on top of it, this surge in pagan worship.
Right.
And that's where we find these two central figures, right?
Yeah.
Elijah, and his name actually means Yahweh is God,
All
which is
right.
kind of interesting.
I didn't know that.
And then his successor, Elisha, which means God is my salvation.
Right. Right.
So they're already coming out strong.
Yeah, their names are like a statement, right?
Totally.
Like a declaration of where they stand.
Yeah, and they're raised up to directly confront this
Very
worship of other gods.
Yeah, to challenge that whole system.
Yeah. So that's really what we're looking at. I mean, what is at the heart of this conflict of faith during Elijah's time?
Right.
And specifically, that confrontation with Baal.
Exactly.
And then also we're going to explore, the significance of the miracles that they performed.
Yes.
Both Elijah and then later Elisha.
Yeah, and this whole idea of faith options,
Okay.
the choices that people had back then. And it's interesting to think about how those choices maybe resonate with us today.
So let's just start by looking at King Ahab, right?
Okay.
He was the son of Omri, ruled for 22 years in Samaria.
Right.
And the source material says that he did evil in the sight of the Lord more than all who were before him.
Wow, that's setting the bar pretty high for wickedness.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a key factor in this was his marriage to Jezebel,
Right.
the daughter of the king of Sidon.
Right.
Now, this wasn't just a political marriage. This brought Baal worship right into the heart of Israel.
Right into the palace.
And Ahab himself participated. He built an altar for Baal in Samaria.
Wow.
And made an Asherah.
So he wasn't just tolerating it, he was actively promoting this other religion.
Yeah. And it wasn't just him and the queen, right?
Right.
The source talks about 450 prophets of Baal
Wow.
and 400 prophets of Asherah who were supported by the king,
Wow.
even eating at Jezebel's table.
Yeah, they were like on the payroll,
Yeah. So this is
That's a lot of prophets,
Yeah,
by the way.
it's serious business.
Yeah.
And it was dangerous for anyone who held on to, the belief in Yahweh.
Yeah, Jezebel was like cracking down on Yahweh's prophets, right?
Yeah, it was a rough time.
Yeah.
Not a good time to be a Yahweh follower.
No. So then, Elijah shows up
Right.
and
Into this whole mess.
he makes this pretty dramatic announcement.
He doesn't hold back, does he?
No. He goes right to Ahab and says, "As the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, before whom I stand, there shall be neither dew nor rain these years, except by my word."
Oh,
Mic drop.
talk about a power move.
It's huge, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you consider Baal was the god of rain and weather.
Right. So he's basically saying your God can't even handle the thing he's supposed to be in charge of.
It's a theological argument playing out in the weather.
Yeah, the drought becomes a battleground of belief.
And that drought lasted 3.5 years.
3.5 years. That's a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine the pressure on Ahab and Jezebel.
Oh, yeah. And all the people who put their faith in Baal.
They're probably starting to wonder, like, hey, where's the rain?
Yeah. Is this guy even listening?
Right.
So, fast forward 3.5 years.
Ahab and Elijah meet up again.
Uh-oh.
And Ahab's not happy.
I bet.
He basically says, you're the one who's troubled Israel. But Elijah comes right back and says, no, it's you. You've abandoned the commandments of the Lord and followed the Baals.
Oh, he threw it right back in his face.
That's Elijah.
Yeah.
He's not shy.
Bold move.
So then he throws down this challenge, this huge challenge, says, get all of Israel to Mount Carmel and bring your 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah.
He's calling for a showdown.
It's a public demonstration in front of everyone to see
Yeah.
which God has the power.
And what's interesting is the source notes that Jezebel actually stopped her prophets from coming.
Really?
The 400 prophets of Asherah.
Huh.
Maybe she had a bad feeling about this whole thing.
Maybe she did. Now, Mount Carmel itself is an interesting place for this.
Oh, how so?
Well, the source mentions that it was known for kind of having moisture even during droughts. So it's this visual, everything is dry and parched because Baal, the god of rain, is failing.
Right.
But there's still life on Mount Carmel.
So it's like a subtle sign.
Yeah. So they all gather, and Elijah addresses everyone. He says, "How long will you go limping between two different opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him."
He's not mincing words.
No.
He's laying it all out there.
But the people, they don't say anything.
What? They just stay silent.
Silence?
I wonder what that silence meant. Like, were they scared? Confused?
I think it's kind of all of that, right?
Yeah, probably.
Are caught in the middle. They don't know who to turn to.
Maybe afraid to choose sides.
Yeah. So Elijah says, okay, let's do a test. We take 2 bowls. Each of us prepares one, puts it on the altar, but no fire. Then you call on Baal, I'll call on the Lord. Whoever answers with fire, that's the true God.
So it's like a divine fire contest.
Exactly.
And the people agree to this.
They do.
Wow. I mean, this seems like it would favor Baal, right? He's associated with fire and lightning.
Yeah, so it's kind of a risky move for Elijah, but he's confident.
Yeah, he must be.
So the prophets of Baal, they go first.
Okay.
They get their bowl, put it on the altar, and start calling on Baal. They're chanting, "Oh, Baal, answer us." From morning till noon, they're going at it.
But nothing happens.
Nothing. No voice, no sign, nothing.
Oh, man.
And they're getting desperate. They're doing this limping dance around the altar.
Their limping dance, what's that about?
I don't know. I guess it was part of their ritual, but it's like a physical representation of their desperation,
Yeah, like they're begging, pleading.
Exactly. And meanwhile, Elijah starts taunting them.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. He's saying maybe Baal's busy or on a trip or maybe he's asleep and you need to wake him up.
Oh, he's mocking them.
He's laying it on thick.
I bet they were furious.
Yeah, but they just keep going, and they get even more frantic. The source says they start cutting themselves with swords and lances. Yeah, blood everywhere. It was apparently part of their religious practice.
That's intense.
But still, no answer.
So, all that for nothing.
Until the time of the evening sacrifice, they're still at it.
Wow.
And then finally, Elijah says, "All right, everyone, come over here."
What does he do?
He starts by repairing the altar of the Lord.
Oh.
Which had been neglected, right?
Yeah.
And he uses 12 stones to represent the 12 tribes of Israel.
That's a nice touch.
It is. It's symbolic, Then he digs this trench around the altar.
Okay.
A big one.
Okay. Why?
Just wait. So he puts the wood on the altar, prepares the bowl, and then he has them fill 4 jars with water and pour it all over the offering.
What? He pours water on it?
Drenches it. The wood, the altar, the bowl, everything.
Why would he do that?
3 times they do this. The whole trench is overflowing.
That seems counterproductive,
You'd think so, right?
Yeah, he's asking for fire and he's soaking everything in water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the source says he did this to prove it wasn't a trick. There could be no doubt that this fire was coming from God.
Oh, I see. So he's making it impossible for anyone to say he cheated or something.
Exactly. So it's the time of the evening sacrifice, and Elijah prays. And it's a short prayer, really simple. He asks God to show everyone that he's the God of Israel, that Elijah is his servant, and that the people would turn back to him.
And then?
And then fire.
Whoa.
From heaven. It consumes the offering, the wood, the stones, the dust, even the water in the trench. It's all gone.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So what was the reaction?
Everyone falls on their faces, and they say, "The Lord, he is God. The Lord, he is God."
Wow, a complete turnaround.
It's a huge moment, a decisive victory for Yahweh.
It really is. It's like a turning point in their spiritual journey.
Yeah, but the story doesn't end there.
Right. We've got Elisha.
Right. So after all this, the Lord takes Elijah up to heaven in a whirlwind.
Wait, what? In a whirlwind?
Yeah, it's incredible. He's one of only 2 people in the Old Testament who didn't die.
Wow, that's a pretty exclusive club.
Right.
So he just disappeared.
Well, they looked for his body, but they couldn't find it.
So that's another miracle right there.
It really is. But before Elijah ascended, Elisha asked for something really interesting.
What was that?
He asked for a double portion of Elijah's spirit.
A double portion?
It's like back then, the firstborn son would get twice the inheritance.
Oh, right.
And it meant he was responsible for carrying on the family's legacy.
I see. So Elisha wants to not just continue Elijah's work, but like amplify it.
Exactly. And the source says that Elisha actually performed twice as many miracles as Elijah.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's like God really honored his request.
Yeah, like, okay, you want a double portion? Here you go.
And these miracles, they're not just, one type.
Right.
It's stopping and bringing rain, calling down fire, raising the dead, providing food.
Multiplying oil, parting rivers.
Elijah going up to heaven.
Healing people, blinding enemies, even making a lost axe head float.
It's a whole range of things, demonstrating God's power over everything.
Right, and proving that Elijah and Elisha are legit. They're the real deal.
And this leads us to this concept of faith options that the source talks about.
Right, so back then it was Yahweh or Baal, but it makes you think about what our faith options are today, right?
Exactly. It lists things like faith in humanity, science, education.
New Age stuff, other religions.
And it makes you think, we're always putting our faith in something, whether it's God or something else.
Yeah, like what do we ultimately trust in? What do we believe will give us meaning or security or happiness?
I think that's the question Elijah was asking on Mount Carmel. Who are you going to follow?
Yeah, and it's not always a clear-cut choice, is it?
No. And the source also talks about the different types of miracles in the Old Testament.
Okay.
Some are initiated by God, some are directed by God, but invoked by people.
And some are initiated by people.
Like Elijah's prayer on Mount Carmel.
Right, right. And those last two types, they weren't common. They happened during specific times.
Right.
When God was doing something really significant.
So, when we look at everything we've talked about,
Yeah.
The clash between Yahweh and Baal,
The showdown on Mount Carmel.
Elijah and Elisha and all the amazing things they did.
It makes you realize that this whole idea of faith options, it's not just an ancient thing.
It's something we deal with every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what are our modern day Baals? What are the things that we might be tempted to put our faith in, even though they might not be able to deliver on their promises?
It's a good question to ask ourselves.
It is. What are we really trusting in?
Yeah, so think about that. What are your faith options?
Yeah.
What are you putting your trust in? It's a question worth pondering.
Definitely. Thanks for this deep dive. It's been really eye-opening.
Yeah, me too.